This is Hoops Forum, a production of Radius Athletics and a Quick Timeout podcast. I'm Tony Miller, and I'm joined once again this week by my co-host, Randy Sherman. Before we get to today's episode, a big thanks to our sponsors over at 323 Sports. I know it's still January, but the summer is approaching faster than you think it is, and with the summer comes camp season. As you start to think about your plans for camp season, you may be in need of T-shirts, balls, packs, something to give away to the campers when they come. 323 Sports has things for you. It can come either in the form of packs, or you can order T-shirts individually, or whatever it is. They have things available for you. To reach out to them, just contact sales@323sports.com, or you can visit the website 323sports.com. They can help your program out with any of its summer camp needs. All right, Randy, this is, like we said, the end of January, beginning of February. The playoffs are coming. Close games are happening.
Yeah.
And there may be a coach out there who is looking for an edge, X's and O's wise, when it comes to maybe a regular season game or a playoff game.
Yeah.
Did you win any games off of drawing something up, or you had something drawn up and they hit a game-winning shot?
Absolutely. Yeah. A few times. Most of the times it didn't go how I drew it up, but we made the shot anyway. So I'll take it. I don't care. Yeah, one year in the playoffs, we ended up getting to the regional finals in Texas. The playoffs, that's just like March Madness. Like the winner goes to the Final Four. So it's pretty deep playoff run. Two of our wins to get that far were buzzer beaters. Both one was a half court situation, and one was a baseline out of bounds. And neither of them were like primary option number one. It was like,
wow.
So yeah, it's definitely happened. It's also happened to me also from the opposing perspective. And if you coach long enough, you'll experience both.
Yeah, so we want to give you a couple options here. We'll give you a couple half-court things. Maybe it's something a few seconds or opportunity to bring the ball up the floor and score against something. We'll have some options for you there. Got a sidelines out-of-bounds play, and then also a baseline out-of-bounds play for you. We have a bunch more if you're looking for X's and O's on the Fast Model website. Randy and I both have a bunch of plays diagram that could be easily used as game winners, and there's a bunch of others there. But we're going to show you some of our favorites today. So let me go ahead and pull up this first one here, Randy, and we'll get going.
Yeah. So the thing about like this time of year in the playoffs, and like maybe maybe some of the listeners are in their conference season, they're in double round robin, and they've got that conference rival who it's always a nail biter with. It's like it may come down to a last possession or two, and you need something to maybe you want to use the element of surprise. Maybe you want to get your best player the ball and just sort of like ISO and get out of the way. What you see on the screen here is what a lot of teams do. Is it's sort of the title suggests it's like a false spread ball screen set. So what a lot of teams do late in the game is their best players got the ball. They set a ball screen for them and let's see put the ball in their best player's hands, set a ball screen for them, and we'll take our chances there, right? So that is a lot of end of game philosophy for a lot of teams. However, what I'm going to do in the ones I chose to share is sort of like borrow from the football world where they use play action, right? Like they fake the run, and the quarterback shows the fake or makes a fake handoff, pulls the ball and throws deep or something like that. So you're faking one action in the football analogy, the run, to set up the pass. So here, this is both of them that I'm going to share are sort of play action with that, to borrow that analogy of we're making our opponent believe we're going to set high ball screen here. So you see five say maybe, best players have got the ball, five, okay, they're going to set high ball screen. He takes a step or two, maybe even throws the fist to really sell it, right? And then we just turn and sprint away and screen for the player in the corner. And we kind of what I call TikTok it. We throw it to them and they hand it right back. We TikTok it. We throw it to the player coming off the screen. They hand it right back. Five turns right into a step up. And over there on the weak side, that could be hammered just as easily as an exchange if you wanted to add that flavor to it. So it could be a need of two with the drive off the ball screen. It could be need of three if we hit the hammer on the backside.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I saw the Penn Quakers run this, and I think that's the source. So I want to make sure I credit that. But I liked it, and I took the time to draw it up and add it to my fast draw because it's kind of checked a box that I like. Is like in that end of game situation, you're like making your opponent believe we're just going to do this simple like spread ball screen for our best player, but there's some sort of like play action to it.
I think as much as an offense gets comfortable running things, a defense gets comfortable guarding things. And to your point, when they're looking for something to happen, they can kind of sit down and get comfortable in guarding it, and they know how to communicate it. But if you throw just a little twist to it, I also like this because this almost a lot of times you'll see that zoom type action going down the floor where you have a handoff immediately followed by a ball screen. And this kind of inverts that. And you get kind of the same two actions right there in a row that they have to guard, and you clear out a side. And maybe you're
so it's handoff ball screen, but instead of downward, it's upward.
And then you have that clear side on that other side. If they switch that, you can expose that with a roll to the front of the rim, maybe throw it to the 5. Or if they're just kind of slow to hedge it or whatever, or if you have a trap, bounce out of it and throw it over the top of the 5.
And instead of like, say, in this assumption here, maybe that 1 in the diagram is our player that, you know, we would want, and our opponents would also expect that we want to take the final shot or the big shot in a possession. So we're doing that, but instead of just sort of like straightforward doing it, like, okay, just spread ball screen for, you know, they're all American point guard. We're going to do it. We're going to set a ball screen for our best player, but we're not going to let you just lock in on just basic spread ball screen.
I've always wondered why at the end of even at the end of a half, like everybody just runs down to the baseline and they send out the 5 to go ball screen and make a play. That's a lot of confidence in your ball handler. I would rather do something like this that still gets you the same thing, but makes other players on the floor guard something. Even the interchange on the other side makes defenders pay attention kind of to their man instead of being able to just kind of hunker down in the paint and clog stuff up if you're trying to get something there at the rim.
Well, that's why people are watching, to get better ideas than what they get on TV, Tony.
That's exactly right.
That's what we're watching. So,
all right, next one here. Everybody will love this one because we have an elevator action.
Elevator, man. Who doesn't love an elevator buzzer beater? That makes the internet go wild, right? So
you're exactly right.
So again, with the same idea of play action, though. So maybe here, player 2 is our stud player that we want to. That's who we want to take the final shot or the buzzer beater and or whatever the case, end of game, end of half situation may be. So we're showing that they're going to sit a down screen. So we bring the ball. It looks like 1 sort of bringing the ball, that screening action, to perhaps 3 coming off of a screen. You'd probably want that to be another pretty good player too, to sort of like draw some attention to the cutter. But before we actually make contact with the screen, I kind of want 5 and 4 over here to look kind of dumb, like just hanging out on the block and elbow, just like don't show our cards too soon, right? Like, and 2 throws a fist down screen for player 3, and then zips out of it through the elevator doors, and I've got to change directions with the dribble and take the ball to the player coming out of the elevator doors there on the left side of the court. So again, play action, we're showing you a down screen, but it's going to quickly be a fake into some other idea like the other play as well. So here we're going to slip the down screen through the elevator doors for hopefully the game-winning 3. So this might be a need a 3 to tie play. Need a 3 to tie might be if you just the kind of coach who likes to push all the chips in. You know, you're down 2, but hey, we're going to win it right here. You know, one of those situations, right? So, there it is. Again, play action, looks like a down screen, cut through the elevator doors.
If you need a 2, you can use this one as well. I love these because so much attention's put on the shooters that then you could, depending on which defender goes out and tries to show, you can have a 5 slip to the front of the rim or 4 slip to the front of the rim, throw it over the top to them. So options with that too. Very good.
Yep.
All right, next one here.
Okay.
This one's mine, isn't it?
Yeah, this is your turn. Yeah.
This is an adaptation from the Belmont Bruins. They've always run great stuff. I turned it into a 5 out because I know there's a lot of coaches who watch us that like 5 out. So you could run this. This would be one that you could run in transition, or so you're bringing it up the floor or whatever. But you could also run it as a horn set. If you look there in frame number 2, all that is a horn set. But start out with the first one there, the back screen, again, just to kind of, to Randy's point, kind of some misdirection as to what's going on here. And then immediately follow it with a kind of a stagger screen up there at the top. Act like you're coming to hand the ball off the 3. And because X4 and X5 have been paying attention to guarding the ball screen there, there's nobody sunken down in the lane, and you end up getting a back cut finish at the front of the rim there. So, do
you think you'd want player 3 to be like your best player, like the go-to player, or maybe 1 to sort of draw the attention? And I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, depending on, I've had this situation where you can even have like your shooter over there, so they think it's going to be a handoff for your best shooter.
Yeah,
and that's where he's kind of. I like to pick on over. I honestly would put the most over-aggressive defender over there in that corner. So whoever on the other team loves to get out in passing lanes, and the guy that likes to clap in our guys' faces and that kind of stuff. And as soon as he gets a little over-aggressive, is to back cut him and then score on him on the backside there. So
I think this would be a good down 2 play. Like if the offense is down 2, I think this would be a great down 2 play. I kind of like think of end of game and kind of made my little playbook memos like, okay, would this be a good down 1, up 2, a down? I think this would be a great down 2 play. Because think, what are you telling your team if you're if you're coaching the defense? Okay, we can't give up a 3. We can't give up a 3. No, So this situation, they're guarding players outside the 3-point line to not let them say, come off a handoff, come right, pop around the other side of a handoff. So they're aggressive. They're probably paying up the line in the passing lanes, and we set them up for a back door on the dribble at. I like the flare into the double drag too.
I always have coaches sometimes email me or reply and say, hey, and you could do this. So here's your, and you could do this. If you have a little bit extra time, you can continue to play on to a 3rd frame and have 5 and 4 go down and set a stagger screen for 2, and you got the shooter coming off that. So if like to turn it into a down 3 or need a 3 type of play, you could also have that as well.
I think it works great for a 2-point play.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, next one here, sidelines out of bounds play.
Yeah, so the first ones we've shared were half-court situations, maybe after timeout or we call a play. But, man, so often it seems late in games, with all the timeouts coaches save or, dribble in front of the bench, call timeout, like you need sideline and baseline out of bounds situations too at the end of games. So I thought that's why I picked this one. So again, sticking with my theme for the day of play action. So this sort of looks like America's play. Like we're just going to screen across, and then screen at like 2 is going to screen for 4, and then 2 is going to come off the double screen and maybe hit the 3 at the top of the key. That's a very common sideline out of bounds game winning screen across. And then we screen for the screener coming up. It could even be through the elevator doors. I don't have it drawn that way, but it could be. But here we got a double screen away, and it maybe looks like we're just maybe even could be trying to screen for 3 to be just get a screen, come the ball, hit the shot. But really what I want 3 to do is sort of wrap tightly around that screen. It was kind of hard to draw. We have video of this, so you'll see it when we show the video. I want them to wrap tightly around that screen from 5 and get hip to hip with them to set up this double screen for 2. So again, a common play would be cross screen, then come off the double screen for a catch and shoot 3. But here we're going to take one more step, get the ball into 2, and then as the ball is in flight to 2, 5 flare screen for their partner there in that double screen. And we'll either hit the 3 there if we need that, or rip it through and drive it to that cleared outside. So we got video of this from the Utah Utes, the University of Utah. I picked this out a few years ago. They're not running it end of game, but I kind of think it'd be great for that. But you can see the flare. The second time through, it sort of goes in slow motion. So so you see him running off the screen, then getting hip to hip. At the bottom, we got the cross screen, the guy coming off the double. That's who we get it into. right? That's who we get it into. And then meanwhile, we flare screen for that guy, and we got him for a good looking 3 right there. And that could be rip through and drive if we as well. So cross screen, off the double, inbound, flare screen for the guy outside in that double screen, and we get a good look at a 3 there. So I would want probably if you go back to our diagram, I would probably want the best player to be number 3. That's my guy. Like we're getting a shot for number 3.
Yeah, I'm trying to look. To your point, the advantage is created in that play action because the defense thinks that it's going to this guy, and then they stand up for half a second or pause for half a second. And in this case, you set that flare screen for 3, and they end up with a wide open shot. I think that's what we like about most of our game-winning plays. It's not like you just give the ball and run an action and you score it. The reason why we like most plays is because there's either misdirection, like somebody's looking somewhere else and it creates the advantage, or to your point, it looks like it's going to this guy, but it's actually for that guy.
Exactly. Play action. So what you saw in the video, if we could watch it one more time, you saw the guy defending. You saw the guy defending the outside freeze it. The outside player in the double screen. When the guy comes up, the guy at the bottom who set the cross screen and then comes off the double, the guy defending that outside player kind of moves that way, like, oh, this is what they're doing. They're running a screen the screener for this guy's going to shoot at the top of the key. So he sort of moves to the ball side, and that sets up the screening angle. See, watch him. He sort of, when the guy comes off, is running up to the top now, the guy guarding the outside screener, he moves. Now he's set up. We got a great blocking angle to flare screen him. He was drawn to that side. Now, boom, we got him. We got him pinned in to flare screen right there. So, yeah, so it looks like we're going to go to the guy who's running from bottom to top off the double. That moves that guy. Maybe he shows on that guy. Now he's moved himself into position where we got a great screening angle for that outside player in the double screen running this way off the flare.
Yeah, that was really good. All right, this is the last one here.
Okay.
This is our baseline out of bounds play. We just saw the Utah Utes use a play against Kansas. Now I'm showing you one here from Kansas.
Okay.
This is another one to your point of it looks like it's for one person, but then it's actually for somebody else. So it looks like it's a screen for 5 to get on the other block, which that's an option.
Could be a lob to that player, like just go and throw it up. Yeah.
And then 1 step out, like he's going out to the corner to receive a pass. But instead he comes back and receives a throw at the front of the rim as 4 sets kind of a screen to the middle of the court there for 2.
Yeah. Gotcha.
You could probably run this one as I look at it. You could probably run this as a box if you wanted to.
Yeah, it could be a box play.
We haven't talked a lot about this, but most of our Kansas runs everything out of their box sets. They usually also run out of their like 4 low, so you could probably turn this into a 4 low as well. But
yeah,
I like this one again because I feel like they're looking for one things, but there's a layering to your play, and I feel like too many coaches there's only one layer to their play, and if they don't get it in, then they just throw it to the safety valve and then they're done. I know there's varying perspectives. Like you're playing out of bounds, you're kind of playing 4 on 5. I feel like you're playing 5 on 5, and it gives you a chance to kind of what you're doing. The defense doesn't necessarily, especially if you build into it enough things. And so something with 2 or 3 layers usually gets you a pretty open look at the rim.
Yeah, and like all the things that we've shared, how you made a great point earlier about how we wanted to, we want it to look like this play action concept. It looks like we're doing this, but we're going to hit you with that, right? Like, and if you think about the defensive perspective in these end of game moments, there may be only a second or a few seconds left. They're really like aroused. Like we're going to stop like all I got to do is make one stop. That's probably what the coach was saying in the huddle. Like just get one stop, everybody lock in. So they really maybe sometimes over commit to that first little play action, right? And then that makes them ripe for that, what we're really trying to do. So, like we saw there on the one that I shared from Utah, that guy coming off from bottom to top off the double, and like, oh, that's it. And that's it. All I got to do is jump out here and stop this, and we've won the game. And no, we're flare screening you, dude. And now you, by being overzealous on the first action, you sort of set yourself up to be an easy mark for the second action.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to your blob play,
sure.
This is some free game for watchers and listeners. Okay. I see this happen, and I point it out on Twitter every time I see it happen in a meaningful baseline out of bounds. And it's something I started doing with our blob defense on the whole game, like not just end of game, but the whole game, because so many baseline out of bounds plays are like, give them some eye candy over here on the ball side, and we're going to really throw it into the weak side. What I wanted to do was, say if we had X1 on the screen here guarding the ball, is move him about where the lane line would be, and literally turn him sideways and put your arms out as big as you can. And we call it small box and big box. So small box would be from the lane line over on the ball side. Big box would be from that same lane line all the way to the far sideline. One is a small box and one is a big box. And my command to our team in this situation, if we were the defensive team, is if we lose in the small box, not over here, not in the big box. The ball goes into the small box. So I want the on-ball defender to literally turn sideways. Thus, if you got a good long wingspan player right there, turn sideways, get your arms out, put your foot on the baseline where you're basically using your body to take away that 2/3 of the court, right? You make them throw it into the boundary over here, because so many plays are, look over here, oops, like and you throw it and you slip. I don't remember who it was in the NCAA tournament. It hasn't been that long ago, but like their season ended like on a buzzer beater, baseline out of bounds. I think it was USC. They lost a game to somebody, and their guy defending the inbounder is nose to nose with the inbounder, just jumping and doing this and this, and the guy just goes boom, right there to the backside, and they score. Mm-hmm. Like if they listened to me and didn't and made him throw into the small box and not throw into the big box, they move on. Mm-hmm. Instead, they're doing jumping around. Hey, guys, boom, right there to the guy. Running a play similar to this where somebody looped back to the backside block and there was some eye candy over here, but what they really wanted was on the backside. And this guy's, he's doing probably what coach told him. Hey, be big, get your hands up, but cut 2/3 of the floor off of their availability, mm-hmm. and render that somewhat useless.
That's something I need to track during either a tournament or just a game. How many times the ball is entered to the big box versus to the small box, and how many times you get burnt on big box scoring opportunity or scoring action.
And it's usually as simple as the guy who's assigned to the inbounder, if he's coached to be nose to nose to the guy or not really told anything, given much direction there, they'll oftentimes just sort of do that. I want us to put your foot on the baseline as close as the referee will let you put it to the baseline. Stick that arm out. And when the inbounder even starts to lean, keep that, make them throw into that boundary.
Mm-hmm. Unplanned, but that was our Beyond the Scoreboard segment.
We'll call it that.
By Sideline Interactive. They are the leading manufacturers of scoreboards and scores tables for high schools and colleges around the country. You can find out more about Sideline Interactive at sidelineinteractive.com. You have anything planned this week or in the next couple of weeks for the newsletter?
I will get something out.
All right. Last week's was good.
Sideline, about Beyond the Sideline, or Beyond the Scoreboard. Sorry. Beyond the Scoreboard.
We are approaching the NCAA tournament, and Randy revs it up for the NCAA tournament. So if you are not a part of things, please make sure that you're following him on Twitter or following the newspaper. Subscribe to that. You'll get some good stuff over the next month and a half.
Absolutely. I'm ready. I'm ready for the tournament. Some good-looking teams out there. I'm trying to study who I kind of want to put my money on. I don't know who that's going to be yet, but I like what I'm seeing for a good tournament. I think with the in college basketball where seems like teams are a little older this year. Like more, maybe that's all the extra eligibility that had to do with COVID and transfers and things like that. So seems like teams are a little bit older. There are some fabulous young players, but those older teams play some really good basketball. They've been, they got guys who know how to play. Maybe they've been with their coach for a few years, and you really see some really good stuff. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, no doubt, a lot of good basketball to come in the last 2.5 weeks of the regular season. Appreciate all of you who joined us this week. If you missed any part of the show, you can go back and watch it on the Radius Athletics YouTube page, or you can listen to the audio version of the show. Just search A Quick Timeout Podcast on any podcasting platform, and you'll find the audio version there. For Randy Sherman, I'm Tony Miller. We'll talk to you again next time on